Every day at this time, when I get a chance to read the nation's story, I am blown away with the incredible submissions that you've all worked so hard at and managed to get into me. Today's nation's story is no exception. In fact, because I think you've got used to it, and maybe because it's Friday, the level of writing has been absolutely incredible. I'm going to do a roll call now of the winning submissions for One Small Step. Freya Stevenson has written chunk 1, she's 11. Bowen, you are 9 years old, you've written chunk 2. Agnes, you're 11 and you've written chunk 3. Hibba, you're 6 years old, writing chunk 4 for us. Chunk 5, Hamza Khan, who's 10 years old. Chunk 6, Kayla Mary Kears, who's 10 years old. Zeelan Inal wrote chunk 7, he's 8 years old. Emma, you're 9, writing chunk 8. And Thomas Thacker, thank you for the ending. You are 10 years old. Relax, settle down, and before I read this, I wanted to remind you all that all entries are welcome from everybody of all ages, and even if you can't make 9 sentences, Mrs. C will always read your work and take your submission. I had an entry today from someone who was really old. They were 46 and her name was Andrea. Now don't be disappointed, Andrea, that you didn't make it into the final. You'll be able to try again on Monday when Super Sentence Stackers starts again. Are you ready, everybody? One small step. Gazing, staring, squinting, Luna snuggled up on her rug and her eyes were fixed on the television. 1, 2, 3, take off, a voice crackled, and Luna, who giggled with glee, was awestruck by the puffs of smoke and flames shooting out from the rocket. She lay there in her bed, dreaming of being an astronaut. One day, she thought, one day. It was a beautiful spring morning and the sun was beaming with wonder, and dashing, leaping and skipping, she flew down the banister in a blur to find her father sat at the table with a space rocket birthday cake in front of him. Waft, huff, puff, she blew the candles out and made a wish. As Luna grew up, her dad was always busy making things for her. And today was no exception. He was busily making shoes while Luna was impatiently waiting outside. Just as she was admiring her old shoes, Luna's dad checked the time. Then leaping, turning and twisting, she was giggling and elated. She was so happy. She was like a cheeky monkey jumping for joy. Clang! Dad had shut the gate of the shoe store and was ready to join Luna. Dad put on his helmet and opened his arms ready to hug Luna. He thought she was an adorable little angel. Together they took off on their imaginary adventure. They looked up at the starry night and whoosh, they were magically in a dark room and the moon and stars were staring at them. Luna jumped excitedly into her make-believe rocket and eagerly waited her dad to join her in the spaceship for their exhilarating adventure to the moon. Father looked nervous, but Luna, who was ready for the magical trip into space, had a smile painted across her face and whoosh, they were magically up there. the wind hit their faces and they flew high into space. And Luna's eyes were twinkling as they saw the beauty of Saturn. Surprisingly, they went right through the dazzling planet, and Luna gave a cheerful giggle. Soon enough, their intriguing trip ended, and they reached the glittering moon of their imagination and the remarkable spiraling twirls of space. They both laughed and got off their make-believe rocket. Luna started skipping and jumping with excitement over the craters, and the moon crackled with explosions. Boom. She stopped and looked down at Earth, and her father followed her. They looked at Earth and hugged each other. What a great game to play. It was such an eventful trip. But now Luna was tucked up in her bed and dreaming, while Dad gave her a good night kiss. As Luna grew older, she started school, and she was thrilled to be at school. She always zoomed off, and she always focused on her work. But when she got home, sometimes her dad was busy. Sometimes he was able to help her. This one day, he fixed her shoes. And this other time, she made her lots of presents. Sometimes she got some extraordinary astronaut boots. School got hard as she got older, and this made her feel defeated. And sometimes her days weren't as good as others. And after an insufferable day at school, she'd sometimes come home with a frown on her face, her arms folded and her legs crossed. But she'd wait patiently for her dad to talk to her. Dad always helped her. He was always there for her, fixing her shoes, offering her food, and Luna still persevered. She'd wake up in the morning and whiz out the door, hoping for a better day. And every evening she returned home, losing hope as each day went past, because she found it really difficult to get into the astronaut candidate program. However, she never gave up, and she was always determined. And she ran every day to the mailbox to post another application. Creak. Sometimes she got no letters back. Luna nervously waited for a reply, tapping her pencil on the desk. And this one day, there was a letter. Luna slowly unsealed it, and it made her very nervous. But to her surprise, the letter contained the information saying she was invited to travel to space. Zoom, she soared up out of Earth's atmosphere to reach her goal, the moon. And with a big thud, the astronauts, including her, landed on the dusty surface of the rocky moon. Flying through space made her exhausted, but she was so determined to step foot on the moon. As she stepped onto the moon, memories flooded into her mind. She remembered how happy she used to be when she played with her father. Then another happy vision came through, and it was when she was flying through imaginary space with him in a cardboard box. She gazed up and noticed Earth was as bright and as beautiful like she had ever seen it. She smiled and took in a deep breath of happiness. But when she returned home, she couldn't find Dad. She searched for him. She was scared and worried. Was he okay? Would he be safe, thought Luna? And as the wind howled rapidly, leaves leaped and spun above her, times had changed. Times had moved on. Luna lost her dad. She placed down the tulips, crying, with tears rolling down her face. All those times she had ignored her dad, she felt heartbroken, in pain. Smash, rip, cry. Luna lay silently in her bed, in her room, slowly demolishing it. She sat up and she looked out of the window. She thought, what would my future be like without Dad? She plodded miserably into her dad's old workshop, her feet thudding on the wooden floorboards. And there was an abandoned cardboard box laying under a layer of dust. It caught Luna's eye. Curiously, she opened it, and to her surprise, it was filled with her old shoes. Her old space boots. Dad had kept them, and rummaging through the box, she took out her favourite space boots, and she was immediately transported back to her 6th birthday, where Dad had given them to her. Luna, who was once more determined to go into space, put a new poster on her wall, and each night she studied and studied hard until she made it. She graduated. Not only had she graduated, she was an official member of the astronaut program. And this was her moment. She stepped into the rocket. It was sleek and silver, and it set off, and billowing clouds of white smoke filled the air. Luna, who'd been waiting for this moment her whole life, was feeling a jumble of emotion, anxious, excited, and nervous of all. But now was the time. Gliding, soaring, zooming in the rocket, she came more like a star on the horizon. And as she entered the limitless intergalactic universe, she squealed with exhilaration. Taking a deep breath, she stepped cautiously onto the rockety surface of the moon, and she felt a sense of relief. She knew Dad would be proud. It had all sunk in. This is what she was made for. This is what she was made to do. And as she watched the earth spin, she planted her eye on her small home in her small town, thinking about where it all began. She was just a girl with a dream, a big dream, taking another small step. Thank you, everybody. Your writing, well, it has surpassed my own imaginings of what it would be like. You truly have produced some incredible work this week, and my final words to you today are: have a wonderful weekend, enjoy the sunshine, stay safe, and I will see you back here on Monday for our second week of Super Sentence Stackers, and I'll meet you in the classroom at 9:45, where we will take part in writing another story for the nation. Thank you, everybody.